What's happening, everybody? We made it, man. We made it through another week. It's Friday, baby. I don't know what you guys are doing, but I'm having a Kona big wave tonight while I'm hanging with y'all. Sometimes it's Fireball Friday, sometimes it's not. I do have a small little sip of Fireball left that I could
That is homeboy.
take down if I want to later. I don't know if we're still partying later. But awesome week this week. Who caught the fright bite this week? Who caught that? Dahlia Dark and I had so much fun doing that, and a couple funny things I had heard. I'm going to pull up a couple characters from the show. Of course, if you haven't caught a fright bite, this is the main character. This is Count Cracula, and he is the host of this late night podcast with the lovely but deadly Dahlia Dark, and he runs the show. He's the head vamp. And this week, Sugar Smack, which is his arch nemesis as of now. It used to be Chris Aiken from the Classic Metal Show, but now he's set his sights on Count Cracula, and he's been terrorizing the guy. He's been stalking him, making his life miserable, being a cyber bully, and it was time to put an end to Sugar Smack. So, with Dahlia's help and the help of some new cast members, we had a new cast member this week on the Fright Bite. We had Dr. Ivana Howell, which was pretty sweet. Top secret neurochemist that works in the underground base, government base, where Dr. Von Brainscan also works. And they helped come up with a serum to defeat Sugar Smack this week, which was pretty awesome for everybody that saw it. Some of the feedback that I got on Dr. Von Brainscan, people thought that he looked a lot like Buzz Osborne from the Melvins, legendary guy. And I could see it. I could see a little of that. I think Dr. Von Brainscan might have a little Buzz Osborne going on. You guys let me know what you think on there. But I could tell you that Dahlia's bringing in a lot of new fans. She's always full of surprises. Of course, I always mention that she was on that episode of Always Sunny in Philadelphia, season 5, episode 8. But one thing I didn't mention too is she's in a Beyonce video. I don't know if you guys recognize her from that, but this lady loves doing characters as much as I do, and it's super awesome to be involved in a project where you have another creative who's working as hard as you to make it as cool as possible. And when you're just coming up with fun ideas and you like everything that the other person's like bringing forth, it makes it a lot of fun. It doesn't make it seem like quite as much work as it is. I love all the tools we have to work with now with green screens and a couple new apps that I got to help with special effects. So we're going to do all kinds of fun stuff. We're going to actually try to do these little mini movies every week, which is a pretty big undertaking for us both, but we're going to do it for you guys. And we're so stoked when you share those Fright Bite videos, or if you know people that love comedy, or, you know, find any kind of vampire or goth people to be funny, that you would share it with them, because we would love to have them be part of our
Hey,
community,
bud, let's party.
right?
Sexy times.
Yesterday, I should say, was a heavy day for me. We had the funeral for my stepdad, Carlos, that passed away. He had a wonderful send off. We actually had the funeral in Carlsbad at St. Elizabeth Seton Catholic Church, which I personally hadn't been to since 15 years old, when I didn't agree to go on the retreat for the church, so they didn't let me do my confirmation, if you know anything about Catholic religion. And it seems silly, my mom always was very resentful at them because we were, as a family, when you go to a church and you're donating to them all the time, and then over something just as trivial as that, they didn't let me do my confirmation. But at the time, I was kind of like a heavy metal kid. Maybe they just thought I was already taken over by Satan or something. Around that time in my life, that was a pretty common theme. Like the church didn't let me do that. The high school kicked me out because I wasn't living at home. It was a kind of goofy time period. So it was interesting to like go back, 35 years later to this place. But it was beautiful in there. They just everything, the lighting. They still had some Christmas trees up, which was cool. They had an awesome urn for my stepdad, which my mom was designated to take the urn up. But it was a whole private mass just for my stepdad, which was super awesome. And I want to say it was Father Bob from there that did the mass, and he was great. They had an amazing singer and organ player. I had the privilege of being right next to my stepbrother for this, but it was super sad. Like events like this, I always have to I never want people to see me cry. And so I always shove that way down, way, way down. And this was one of those days because I've known my stepdad for like almost 40 years. So it's heavy, and he had such a effect on the people in his life. And we had a lot of his friends and family that came to of course, the funeral and then the banquet after. We had a nice Italian catered deal there, and some of his close friends and family read some poems and shared some memories. And they had a cool photo montage going of him and his whole life, basically. And I couldn't even look at it because it's super sad. I'm just always used to him being there all the time. And when you have to accept that someone's not gonna be there anymore, it's a kind of heavy deal. But yeah, he had, so when you get the prayer cards, right? This was on the back. It was a poem. He's written so many poems, probably tens of thousands of poems. Honestly, he would write like 3-4 poems a day. But this was one he had. It says, pray a lot, laugh a lot, dance in sync with the butterflies, and speak kindly of your friends, because our lives are short and our paths torturous. Get up early, take long walks, look up at the sky, smell the flowers, because our life will come and go as the moon and the wind comes and goes, and it's gone. Carlos Zacharias Gomez. So pretty heavy. But tonight's an Unleashed hangout, folks. So we're gonna have happy thoughts tonight. Moving on, I'm gonna say hi to everybody. What do we got tonight? Kevin Smith, Erik, fright bite is killer. Well, sir, literally, it could kill you. No, we thank you so much. So much cool stuff. The next Fright Bite is going to be Tuesday at 6 p.m. Pacific, and we already have the title of the next episode. It is called Fangs Wide Shut, and you don't want to miss it. It's already in production. It's going to be super awesome and a great time to be had by all the Fright Biters. That's the new name of our cult underground following of people that like the Fright Bite. They're the Fright Biters. Skylar, get ready for a Friday Unleashed party. That's right. It's your boy Jerome. Hey, Erik. Hi. Just got back from SeaWorld. How do you get to go to all these places? You got to be in Florida. Ready to spin the wheel. Well, Tuesday, you get a chance to spin Dahlia's Wheel of Misfortune, which is a big hit. We owe like 3 people t-shirts, which we're going to do. Tomorrow I'm getting posters made up, and Dahlia and I are, I believe, going to meet in person for the first time on Sunday. We have a tentative meetings scheduled where we're going to sign the show posters and then have those. A couple people won some of those last week. I'll get those out to you. And then we might even sell some of those. We'll see. David Mills, he's just got a sign. These are all people. Some of these people I remember from the Fright Bite being there. So cool to see you guys. Stony Jackson, what up, brother? Appreciate you doing this again. Let's go. Hell yeah. I mean, to be honest, it's not like I have any friends around town here or anything to go hang out with. It's just you guys. Black Phillip, what up? Unleashed Pamps. That's right. And Unique Davis, Sovereign. Hey, Eric. Hey, we had Unique at the Fright Bite, and I'm pretty sure she had a good time. She was hanging through it, and we were stoked to get a new Fright Biter on board. So glad to also have you at my Friday hangout, where we are every week at 5 Pacific, unless I got a gig coming up. John Evans, what up, Doobie Brothers? Smoke 'em if you got 'em. Yeah, do whatever you guys do, man. I mean, the audience can't see you guys and whatever bad things you might be doing. They only see what bad things I'm doing. I don't even know how that works. Like if you're consuming a beer on a show. I did say this wasn't for kids. And I am on after a certain hour, I guess, as far as the live show goes. Caribou Backwoods Friday night with Eric. That's right. I'm the party leader of festivities. Stony Jackson, digging the Fright Bite. Dahlia is amazing. The Count and her are a great match. It's weird that this thing just started taking off like that with her. I mean, it was a total faith leap, just like a trust fall with another person that you really don't know all that well. I mean, I could tell she was cool because in the few text conversations we had about our what do you call it, your copyrighted like image or whatever, your name and so forth. She was asking me like business things about being Dahlia Dark and getting that copyrighted, whatever. That was our conversation. So that's how I first started like talking to her and seeing her. And when I saw the look, she totally obviously had the vampire look. And it just was a coincidence that Chris was going to change directions with the Chris Aiken Presents. He's got a new show, Limping Out of the Fire, to check out on Rumble and YouTube with Seth, who he's been doing shows with for a while as well. But they were doing their own new show, so I decided to take the Fright Bite to YouTube every week. And like I said, it's gnarly to do this because it takes days to put it together. Even like a 5-minute like movie segment can take days to do. But it's weird how I'm able to do my parts and film them. She's able to do her parts where she is, and somehow it just works. Like whatever, it's not like I have to go, hey, can you reshoot that and do this? Like whatever she sends me, it's hilarious, and I just basically use it. But yeah, she was Dr. Ivana Howell, the top secret neuro chemist, which was super cool. And you'll see even a newer character next week because, Sugar Smack's at least banished for 30 days, if not longer. But Dr. Von Brainscan could not give a guarantee of more than 30 days for Sugar Smack to be gone. Let me see here. Unique says, sorry for your loss. Yes, heavy loss. One of Carlos's friends that I knew from when I was a kid, Janet Hafner, showed up. She had since moved away, and she came back. And when you haven't seen people in like 8 or 9 years, and they were already older, to begin with, it's crazy, how much they can age in that time, where you don't even recognize them in some cases. And it was I was taken back by it. It kind of reminded me of the movie Old. Did you guys ever see that M. Night Shyamalan movie? I highly recommend it. It's a lot to unpack in it. It's has a little bit of levity in there. It's not a super uplifting movie, but it's eye-opening if you can get into the subtext of it and kind of understand what M. Night's trying to tell you about big pharma and everything, but also just about life in general, how we're not here that long, so you can't spend that time, hating people or holding on to grief or hatred or anything like that. We really somehow have to all work together to get to that pinnacle point of our life where we're the best we can be. And we can't do it alone. We have to do it together, Let me see. Hey to everyone tonight in the chat. Stoney Jackson says yes. And Rat and Roll, happy Friday, everyone. Much love. Yes, yes. And yeah, Black Phillip, King Buzzo vibes for sure with Dr. B. Ha la la la. My favorite is still Stoic Steve. Bring him out more, Eric. Well, you got it, man. If that's what you want, Black Phillip, you got it. I'm going to tell you, you're going to see him. I'm going to make sure he's in this Fangs Wide Shut. Actually, now that you mentioned it, he'd actually be perfect in this. So I'm glad you brought that up, dude. Stony Jackson, sorry for your loss. You and your family are going through. Prayers to your mother. Yes. She seemed to be doing okay. She was strong. My mom's a super strong Jersey woman. She is a Jersey girl, 60s, 70s, totally different time back then. And she's tough, man. She's super tough. And that's where I get it from. That is where I get it from. Rat and Roll, Killer Pearcy interview on Billy Corgan's podcast. Did anyone see it? Not only is it super cool, did you guys see how many views that's getting? Like the original one he put up, it was like 160,000 views already in one day. And then the following day he started cutting it up and putting smaller segments of it up there. And those are hitting 80, 90,000. So this is super cool for Steven. But the coolest thing that I've hinted to is, and I'm still like not 100% certain if Steven like publicly mentioned this or not, but as far as I'm aware, the three of us are working on a song. And so I'm super proud of that. This could be like a pinnacle point in my life as a musician, actually. So this is a really awesome time for us. Steven's super proud to have gone on that and super stoked that Billy is a Rat fan, man, going way back. He loves Rat. I mean, just because he's a 90s guy, where do you think he was 10 years before that? He was listening to Rat and probably all those MTV bands at the time. Let me see here. David Carrasco. Big Eric in the house. You're such a great person, dude. Don't know you personally, but I feel we all know this. Well, thank you, sir. I mean, I felt like it was time to like hang out with you guys and just kind of let you know who I was as a person, because I felt like that was getting lost somewhere. It's your boy Jerome. Sorry for your loss, Eric. Thank you. Steve, you guys are gonna make me sad, dude. Okay, yes. Thank you, Steve. All right. We're gonna move on a little bit. Okay, we'll go back to the happy thoughts here. All right, it was all good stuff. I see you guys. I'm gonna go to my funny media ass. I need a David Lee Roth scream up in this bitch. Woo! Ah, right?
Sexy times.
Hey, bud. Let's party.
Yeah.
Relax. All right?
Okay, let's get on to some good news here. As I've mentioned before, the super chats that have come in, I've gone into a fund to get a new computer to do everything for this channel. And tonight, it showed up right before the show. And I thought it would be awesome to do like a live unboxing of this. Let me see here. This is going to be, I'll pull it out first and then I guess I'll read it while it's in my hand. But this is the new Mac Mini. Right now I got one from I think 2015, and it only has the 16 gig or whatever of the initial RAM. I'm not a computer nerd, but it's like the bare minimal that you can run probably a podcast with. And so I wanted to get like the new M1 chip, and they were doing a deal where they could like they would give it to you with all these cool apps. So anyways, let me see here. So a brand new Mac Mini. Let's see here. This is so much smaller than any of the ones I have. I've gone through 2 so far since I started using them. It seems like every probably 5 years you got to kind of get a new one. But this is supposed to be like super powerful compared to that one. Look at that. Look how small that is. Fits in your hand. Pretty dope. So I'll read you guys the stats on this one that I got. It's a Apple M4 chip with a 10-core CPU. Got a 16-core neural engine. 24 gigabytes of unified memory. So that's a big step up for me. 1 terabyte of storage, gigabyte Ethernet, 3 Thunderbolt 4 ports, an HDMI port, 2 USB-C ports, headphone jack, accessory kit. And then it came with the apps with it. It had Logic Pro because I'm a musician. Obviously, I do a lot of music production. It had Final Cut Pro. I feel like I've kind of outgrown iMovie, which is the free Apple movie software that they give. It's very like childlike to use, which is good because I'm a child basically in a man's body. But this one comes with Final Cut Pro, so I feel like this will help me with some of the special effects for Frightbite. There's also a app in there for doing like 3D titles. I could probably do a rad like intro for the show. And then there's something in there called Main Stage, which I want to look into, but I'm pretty sure it's going to allow me to perform live during the live broadcast without any hiccups. And I think this thing will be powerful enough to like accommodate that. The first couple Fright Bites, I was trying to do some live music, and it was like one thing after another. The first week I tried using the background tracks. Well, this thing's blocking my view here. 1 second. Let me see. Put this up real quick. We're doing the Sublime song, Smoke Two Joints. And Cal Cracula did a version called Suck Two Necks. And he was singing along like over this. But because there's a delay from StreamYard coming back, there was like a slight delay, so it sounded like he was out of time by a whole beat. So. Anyway, it's all kind of dumb, but funny at the same time. I don't know. But then let's see. Then I tried to the next week. Count Cracula was playing like a 12-string guitar going through another channel, but then his voice through the whole time was all mono, just on one side, and the guitar was stereo. I'm like, this is a mess. I got to get if I'm gonna do this, it's got to be right. And so I think there's a way I could use Main Stage and have that open and do a live performance and have like some accompaniment, percussion or something, keyboards to kind of go with it and make it that much cooler. So what can I say? Right. Let's get back in this here. Here we go. Let's start here with Black Phillip. That was a nice poem your stepdad wrote. Sorry for your loss again, man. Oh, you know what? That's right. I was going to tell you guys about Janet, his friend that showed up. You guys remember the band Tool? Of course, they're still around. Let me ask you this, a better question. Do you remember the Tool album Anima that had like Stink Fist and all those songs like in the mid 90s? All those that series of videos from that record, Janet's son made those. Chris Hafner, he had a video production company at that time, Brass Knuckle Productions, and he was very successful with that. He did all those videos, and if you watch them, they're super cool for the '90s. The special effects that he used, it was like I remember him explaining it to me at the time. They like had like positively charged neurons or something that they used on the that guy, that weird creepy guy that's in the Stinkfist video. Like it was really interesting. But you know, sadly, he killed him. He committed suicide like some years later. He had a family. It was bad news. Janet had another son that died of cancer. She's got one son still left. She's got her grandkids. That's she moved to be closer to them, and but her and my stepdad had this show here. It's like a public access type show. The Palomar College, where they both were professors, had a Palomar channel. And back then in the 80s, 1980s, we didn't have that many channels on TV. So as you know, like anybody who's over 40 or 50, you remember you had your like your 7, 8 channels, and there was a public access. And it was like that here. We had the Palomar channel, and you would always see my stepdad Carlos, and you would see Janet. Of course, this was like 40 years ago, you know what I mean? So that they were in their 40s at the time, so they still were, you know, good looking. I mean, they're I don't mean to sound like they're not good looking now. They're 80 years old now, you know what I mean? But at the time, they were just very charming to watch, and my stepdad was very funny. But Janet just kind of told about how they became partners on the show and what it was like to do the show. And it actually reminded me of Dahlia and I, how we are, where we have kind of a loose idea what we're going to do, but everything's just made up on the spot, you know, all the interactions. Like she doesn't know what's going to happen. I don't really know what's going to happen. I don't know what she's going to say. I just can only, you know, react to it. But I never thought I'd be into doing that kind of thing. It's really out of my comfort zone, but I'm just having a lot of fun with it, and I'm just hoping it kind of takes off. Like people just kind of get on board with it. It's going to take a minute. I feel like most of the people that know me personally are very confused by it, and they don't understand what's going on. Like, why are you doing that? But yeah, so hearing Janet talk and seeing her, I'm glad I got to see her, but it makes me sad when I think that, man, there, if that much time went by again, she probably won't even be here, you know, anymore. And there was some other people in the audience that we hadn't seen in a while that were there, and it just made me sad. It's like it's sad to lose touch with people, but also cool to see us all in the same room celebrating a great man. Thomas Bailey plus takes extra lot of crack. I see what you did there, Mr. Bailey. That's pretty good. What else we got tonight? It's your boy Jerome. So yeah, my boyfriend is rich and he spoils me. Hashtag best bee fever. Well, good for you. This looks long. Paula, how are you? Just as I was getting used to seeing you, then Johnny M touring with Pearcy, and seeing you all on streams, you guys aren't anymore. Was it just temporary? It's okay if you ignore me. Paula, why would I ignore you? I mean, I kind of jumped a little bit around because I was getting choked up, and I was like, okay, I can't talk about it anymore. But I've been pulling down. Now I'm happy again. But you guys were so sweet. I started to get kind of a little, but yeah. So yeah, with the Piercy band, I'll tell you this: there's been shows announced, some really good ones that have like Vince Neil and Stephen Pearcy and I believe Slaughter and Quiet Riot, and there's going to be some cool stuff. I know of at least like 5 of those that you'll see me at. You know, I can't, you know, say too much past that, like at the exact moment, but I'm happy to be doing those. I have a lot of other stuff going on too. The project, as you guys know, we're always talking about the Death of Me video that I did. We've started to like rehearse every month again. At the end of this month, we're going to be shooting a new music video. So that was, we just found that out a few days ago. So we're totally stoked. James Davis is making that happen. I should pull out my banners here. If you actually want to get our band, the project, booked like in your city, like if there's a cool, I don't know, probably a smaller venue, I would imagine, because we're kind of unknown. But to book us, AFM Entertainment, it's Len at afmentertainment.com. I made a nice little banner there, and we will come party with you guys. Also, I don't know if you guys remember. God, it must have been the end of last summer. I had done a show with Pump Five, which has Alex Kane. A lot of people know Alex Kane from oh god damn it, what was that band that did I'm a Tank and um, Telephone Message to Jesus? God, how could I be brain farting that? I used to love LSD. Thank you. I saved myself here. Live Sex and Death, Alex Kane. He was the original guy in that band and the dude from the videos. And he does a lot of shows with Pump 5. He's currently on the road with Chips Enough right now. They're doing a Guns N' Roses tribute that's actually doing really well for them. They're playing like packed shows. They had like 30 or 40 shows. Pump 5 has some shows. I think it's the end of April, and it's with Texas Hippie Coalition. I think it's about 3 gigs or 4 gigs, and they had called me up. Alex wasn't available, so I'm going to fill in for him, and that's going to be cool too. Those guys are fun guys. I think we're just driving out to the Midwest or whatever, going to do those gigs. It'll be a fun rockin' week, and the Pearcy record. I mean, we're doing the Pearcy record right now. Matt and I got about 6 of the songs musically laid out, and Pearcy has gone in and started doing some scratch vocals. I'll probably get my next scheduling orders. I was supposed to actually be up there yesterday, but it was the funeral, and it was, I'm glad Stephen told me not to come up because it was, wasn't a great time to do that. Let me see. Thomas Bailey, Billy Corgan was fanboying out with Steven. I still got to watch the whole thing, but this is super cool. I love when people get excited about Steven, because he's had such an amazing life, and all those 90s guys loved Rat. I don't care how much they pretend that the 80s hair bands were lame and how they knocked them all away and did their thing. They all were 80s fans, every one of them. I don't care if it was Pearl Jam or whoever. They all loved the 80s bands. That's all there was. I mean, what was the 80s, or you were into new wave, right? Or you were into like Billy Joel or Kenny Rogers or something. Robert says, great interview. Coolness. Yes. It's your boy Jerome. We live a life of luxury. He makes 6 figures. Oh, you're talking about your boyfriend? That's pretty sweet. Actually, looks like we got some super chats I got to get to over here. My super carrot, Marsha, help pay for Mac Mini. Anyone match me? Oh, that's so sweet. It's funny because my computer seems to be working like okay. Like to do the Fright Bite last week, I sacrificed a lot of stuff that I had on my computer. Like I had a lot of video I had worked on over the last 3 years that were just like sitting on my desktop. I just started throwing all this stuff away just to like make room on the memory because I could tell I was at like 80% full, and that was what I think was choking up my computer on the few last podcast. That made me buy the new Mac Mini that Marsha's talking about. But all that stuff I did actually worked pretty well, and we had a smooth Fright Bite. And so far tonight's smooth, of course, obviously, but it was still something. You got to get with the future. There's no way your computer is going to hold up for podcasts that's like 8 years old or whatever. It's going to not keep up with the new updates and all that stuff. And this thing's, it's crazy how powerful it is for being half the size, but anyways, yeah, I did this for you guys. I want to keep a top-notch show going, and I want to take the Fright Bite to the next level, and I want to take my music to the next level, and I think this thing's going to do it. So it was an investment. You got to invest in yourself if you want to be successful, and I appreciate you, Marsha, for going in on that. And it's our boy NCP. What's not to understand about Fright Bite? Those folks sound like some party pooers or haters. Yeah, well, there's some people that think that sort of thing's silly or would never waste their time with a schlocky, goofy horror movie. It's not for everybody. When I think of Elvira or Mystery Science Theater, not everybody liked those shows, and that's okay. It would be lame if we all just like the same stuff all the time, man. It's good that we all like different things. It's good that all of us are a little different. It's good we all don't look the same. For me, variety is the spice of life. I don't know how you guys feel.
Sexy times.
But anywho, let's get back in the action here. Thomas Bailey. My dad used to say that your rock and roll music has all that screaming and hollering, like they're goddamn pain. I always felt like he was referring to David Lee Roth and AC/DC. Maybe. I was lucky that my parents actually, my mom specifically, loved Brian Johnson from AC/DC. So we had the Back in Black record. It Shook Me All Night Long was like one of her top jams from then. So she didn't perceive him to be a screamer, really. Even though he kind of was, to some people would think that was obnoxious at the time. But she dug it. So in our household, we had some cool stuff. We could listen to some. I didn't really get told that till I started listening to maybe some of the thrash metal stuff started getting a little, I don't want to say satanic sounding, but they were pointing to bands like that had that kind of imagery and Slayer and all that kind of stuff. Like I think they certainly didn't understand that. Let me see, Rat and Roll. I did see the Pearcy interview on Billy Corgan's podcast. It was great. I was excited for Eric and Stephen. New music. Please come to upstate New York, Binghamton. Yeah. Yeah, these new songs are pretty dope too. It's not like we're mailing it in, music wise or whatever. I've heard when there's not a lot of money, like we haven't even signed with anybody for this. Like Steven's kind of doing this himself so far, and I think he's going to negotiate a deal after the fact on it. But generally speaking, in this part of the 80s band's careers, they're not offered a ton of money to do records. And in those cases, they don't always put forth the most effort. One band that always does, in my opinion, put in a really good effort is LA Guns. They've continuously put out new albums, and I totally dig that because there's people that have the thought that, man, we don't want to hear any new stuff. We just want to hear those songs from 40 years ago. And like as an artist, that is not gonna work. And those guys are artists, Tracy and Phil. I think it's Phil's birthday today, and they have to satisfy that. And what's cool is they actually do. Every album has at least a couple jams that are going to be pretty dope. And this is going to be. They have a new album coming out again, so I'm excited to hear that. What the heck's going on over here? Let me get over here for a second. Oh my goodness. The project Towards Your Computer Rockstar. Oh, thank you, man. James Davis. That's super sweet. Yep, I'll definitely be working on new project songs with this computer. I've bragged about that. That Dennis Hill and James and I have these two. I don't want to overstate it. There's these two songs, one that James wrote and one that I wrote, and of course Dennis is the one that's going to make them hits. But we're super stoked with like the direction it's going, and we're just excited to be working with each other. It can't, like, for me, it can't happen fast enough, but it's happening, and good things come, to those who wait. I'll say that. Spicoli, did Pearcy let you drive his cars? No, he did not let me drive his cars. I gotta say hello to Spicoli
I
tonight.
know that, dude. Hey, bud. Let's party.
Let's party, everybody.
Sexy times.
Let me see here. Going back to the lives. No, I never drove Steven's car, but at that same time, I don't know if you heard the story where I used to steal my dad's car because I had seen the movie Risky Business and it made it look like it's cool to do such a thing. I'm lucky I didn't crash that my dad's Porsche, but I found my dad's spare key, and I took his car. A couple times it worked, but then one time when I took it, it armed itself, the alarm, when I got out and started going off, and it had like a kill switch where I couldn't get the car to start. And I ended up having to call my friend Drago, who owned La Costa Towing, and they came and towed my dad's car. I'm telling the short version of this story. But it was funny because, again, Fast Times at Ridgemont High, an ongoing theme of this show, anyway, which is also based on Claremont High, where Stephen Pearcy went to high school. I didn't know if you guys were aware, but Cameron Crowe wrote the movie about that school. But in Fast Times at Ridgemont High, Sean Penn and the one of the dudes on the football team's younger brothers had stole the car and ended up crashing it. And Spicoli, I had the drop here. Here we go. Spicoli like tells him
All right?
his dad's a plumber or TV repairman, was a TV repairman, and has an ultimate set of tools, and he was going to fix it. Well, Spicoli's final idea was to just beat the hell out of this car and make it even worse and blame it on the opposing football team, so that when the brother who owned the car found out about this, he'd be so angry they'd win the championship, which ends up happening. But my friend Travis thought the only way to handle my dad's car being kill switched or whatever was to bash it into a million bits or whatever and spray paint it and say that somebody stole it. And I was like, oh man, no. I called Drago, we towed it back, and so luckily we didn't do Travis's idea. That was a stupid idea, Travis. But that's where he probably got that idea, was from Fast Times. Fast Times at Ridgemont High, writings on the wall. Yeah. Skylar, wow, that's nice, the Project Band. These are nice dudes. It's refreshing, it's like I'm in the game of like the national acts playing, being around like some of these guys that were famous, even, or top-notch professional players in that scene, and it's trippy in that area. You don't always get along with each other, and you don't know. So, but all the guys that are involved in the project are just super super duper humble guys. Like they're the best men you could be, and like when I'm around them, I'm just like, wow. I'm almost like I'm still guarded when I go around people because I don't know. I'm used to not being able to trust people, and they're just good dudes. I'll just say that much. 46 watching, only 16 likes. Come on, people, drop those likes. Well, I appreciate that. I don't even care if there's 7 of you guys, man. We'll all hang out. It's all good. I'm not a numbers dude. John Evans, right on, cool. Yep. Stony Jackson, I always kept videos and photos on external drives to keep as much free space as possible on my computer. Yeah, that's a great idea until you don't touch that drive for like a couple of years, and then all of a sudden you go to use it and it locks up, and that's what happened to me. And unfortunately on this drive, which is a Lacey drive, which I do not recommend to anyone after this incident, but it had only been like 6 months since I ran this thing, and it just died on me. It like the light flicks on for a second. That's it. This thing has the other 6 songs that we're recording for the Pearcy record that I gotta like. Now I'm gonna have to like. I do have the MP3s, like when you write a song demo and you bounce it down to an MP3. I have that, but if they're like, yeah, we're gonna play that, can you give us all the MIDI tracks you used and the sounds and maybe some of your parts you played? I can't get into the project to do it. I'm gonna have to like recreate these, so that sucks. But yes, Stony, I'm with you on that. I was always doing that sort of thing. And what I'll tell you, sir, is make sure you exercise your hard drives, like that you turn them on every couple months just to run them. Don't have happen to you what happened to me. Let me see here. I'll keep going down. Hard rock and trivia show. Stephen Pearcy solo albums are a lot different than Rat. Yeah. Yep. Well, the Rat ones, they spent like $1 million on each one, and they had Beau Hill producing it. Ours we made for like I don't want to throw the exact number out, but it wasn't, you know, it was done for how many figures is that? One, two, three. It was five figures, sir. Four figures. Sorry, they're probably in four figures. But anyways, and also like I don't know, when we do them, it's yeah, depending on what's involved and the size of the deal is like how much effort you're going to put into it. I mean, you think of an album like Hysteria, right? I mean, they spent years making Hysteria. You think of like that GNR album that came out like in the early 2000s or whatever. They had worked on that thing, it seems like for 8 years. Like if the budget's there, they'll polish those things up forever. But when it's not much of a budget and you know you only got about 10 days, you know, to make this a whole full album happen, you do the best you can do. I'm generally the guy that contributes most of the compositions of music, and I'm not sure if it's gonna work or not. You know, anything that in my head I think I hear him singing on it, I send it to him and go, "What do you think?" And it just goes in a pile, and years go by sometimes, and then all of a sudden he'll pull out this really old one. I'm like, "Oh, I forgot about that," and it'll finally make it onto a record. But it's not like, "Oh, we're doing a record and all the songs just got written in the last 6 weeks." I've been sitting on some of these for 6 years. So I already read that one. Pearcy, no, he did not. He let me wash his cars. Um, okay, now I'm just rolling back and forth. I love that Buck Cherry puts out new music. Yeah, they totally put out. Not only that, but what's the other band that Josh Todd does? It's there's one of my favorite songs is from the other band that he has about You're the Tiger. Have you guys heard that song, You're the Tiger, that Josh Todd does? Josh Todd and the Conspirators, I think. Is that right? But that song's like totally like one of my favorite songs. It gets me pumped when I hear it. In fact, tonight when I go work out, I'm going to throw that on later. But no, those guys are road dogs too, man. Josh is always out there playing. Those guys get my respect for sure. Spicoli, LA Guns, keeping rock alive. Tracy is such a cool dude. He is. I appreciate all his songs that Tracy's written. I think he's a fantastic rock guitar player. I think he's always stayed true to that, which some people go, "Oh, you're not doing sweep picking arpeggios. You're not doing," and it's like, no. This guy's like Tracy's a legit rock guy, and he stays. I don't want to say within the confines of that, but just his taste and what he likes, he stays within that and just delivers classic rock that we grew up listening on. And he's not trying to like be some YouTube whatever. And I kind of consider myself to be somewhat like that too. You know, I'm not a generally a super show offy guy, but you know, I love seeing Tracy play like Led Zeppelin. It's like he'll blow your mind. Like I've one time I saw Tracy Guns and Robbie Crane doing like Zeppelin covers, and it was phenomenal. Like Tracy was killing it doing the Zeppelin. He's a huge Jimmy Page fan. He's into those classic tones. I think Tracy even builds his own amps or works on his amps and stuff. So he's an interesting guy. I've always loved LA Guns from when I was a teenager, so I always got a soft spot for those guys. Absolutely. Let me see. Fast and Easy. My dad had the same 928, only silver. Well, yeah, my dad had a 944 turbo, and Stephen had a 935 back then. This would have been in like the mid to late 80s at the time. Let me see here. Hard Rock. Ridgemont High was Canoga Park High. Are you sure about that? Are you sure? I mean, I'll totally concede if I'm wrong, but as far as I was told, it was supposed to be yeah, in San Diego. No, Claremont High School. That's what Steven says. Steven told me that. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. It's because it's his fault. But maybe if you could tell me Hard Rock and Trivia Show. I mean, you are the Hard Rock and Trivia Show. As I'm reading your handle, I'm like, damn, I don't know if I want to go up against an actual trivia show. I'm probably definitely wrong. Um, Let me see. Fast Times at Ridgemont had a great soundtrack. Tom Petty, American Girl, and the Cars. Yeah, the one thing that ruined me though was the Jackson Brown song that's in it, because there's that one scene um, where Damone takes the chick down to the baseball park to bang her, and that Jackson Brown song's going, and I'll always like think of that, because when I was pretty young when I saw that, so you're like, whoa, what the hell? And it was just kind of a weird sex scene or what have you, and I always just um, how does that Jackson Brown song? It's got to be somebody's baby tonight. He's like, oh, did you feel that? Whatever, you guys know what I'm talking about. Anyway, so now every time I hear that Jackson Brown song, I think of the baseball field. Skylar never saw Fast Times at Ridgemont High. It's a classic. I mean, you're not gonna not laugh seeing Fast Times at Ridgemont High. It definitely holds up today. Everything in there, and it's like a nostalgic time capsule. It kind of takes you back to the '80s shopping malls. Like the characters, the main characters in it actually work. They're pretty much in high school still. They're supposed to be like 17, 18-year olds, and they have like their first jobs. Two of them work at the mall. One works at the movie theater. One works at like a restaurant. They have a ticket scalper, Damone. The ticket scalper is always trying to sell tickets to like Van Halen and um, for something cool in the gang or something. Yeah, I don't know. He always had tickets to stuff, which was pretty cool. People still make memes about all this, but Mr. Hand was great, the teacher. But Sean Penn's Spicoli role was legendary in this movie. Legendary. Keanu Reeves used to play a stoner back in the 80s, but made up for it with the John Wick films, says Thomas Bailey. Yeah, he did. The John Wick ones are. There's a lot of like shootouts in that. It's almost like too much for me. I mean, it's super cool how they do it, but it's just like it's like stimulus overload when I try to watch stuff like that. Like I hate to sound like a pacifist or something. I'm not. I mean, I like a good action movie, but it's pretty over the top. All his machine gun shooting. I don't know if that. It's almost a little unrealistic at times. Jimmy, when's the new Voodoo come out? Tell Milner to make it happen. Nice. Yeah, Andy's wife Christine, her brother Frankie had a birthday. A happy birthday to him, Frankie Chavez. He invited me to Santee to go to his party, and Andy was there from Voodoo, and Charlie, the drummer, was there. And I was just under a lot of stress with things I had going on in my life on that day, and I had intended to go, but didn't. And then he sent me pictures that they had a whole stage set up and a jam, and they were hoping for like a Voodoo reunion at this party, and I feel like I let them down. But Christine, her birthday's coming up the end of the month, and I don't know if that's going to be another opportunity for this. I mean, obviously Andy's going to be there, right? It's that's her husband, so I'll see Andy again. And Charlie might be there. I don't know. Maybe it'll be another chance. If there is, I'll film it. How about that? If there is a Voodoo reunion, Jimmy, I will film some of it and I will play it for you guys on the show. And that is a promise. Steve, love Fast Times. I can fix it, dude. Never gets old. He's got the ultimate set of tools. Gonna Venmo you $10 for weed. Hell yeah. I'm a cheap date at the weed store. I buy like, I buy the cheap stuff. I buy the smalls. Like you could buy cannabis. You can buy nice, great buds out there, obviously, but I'm on a budget. You know what I mean? So I'll look for the smalls where like you could get for like $25. You could get like a half ounce of pretty decent buds, but they're small. They're the smaller kinds. But I almost like that. I mean, for bong loads or whatever, just to have little small. They're almost ready to go bong rips in there. But it just suits my budget, and I don't spend that much. The taxes that California charges for at the dispensaries is pretty obscene now. Like you'll it'll come out to $25, but then there'll be like a 50% tax on it or something. I'm not complaining. It's still a killer deal, and times have changed because with smoking, we used to spend so much more on herb than we kind of do today. You're getting basically like wholesale prices at these places on stuff that you'd be happy to get it for that price to resell it back 20 years ago. But they did put all the neighborhood pot people out of business. All those dispensaries. Don't ask me why I know that. CP Howe, please come back to Boston soon. Boston's awesome. I hope we come back to Boston. Most of the major cities in the country are always a blast to go to, but Boston is no exception. Rest in peace, Tom Petty. Yes, that was a huge loss, but man, Tom Petty has left us an amazing catalog of work. And talk about taking your time in the studio. Tom Petty, when you hear him talk about when they would make those records, they would play the songs live as a band, the Heartbreakers, and they would record a song like 100 times till they felt, yeah, we got it somewhere in there, and then they would go back and pick the best ones. So when we're listening to those classic songs, that is them playing that song live. It's not some Pro Tools gridded up situation. These songs, they breathe, and they have slight tempo changes that you wouldn't be able to do the same way. It wouldn't have the same result. Um, Skylar, wish I could have seen him live back in the day. I've never seen Tom Petty live either, to be honest. I mean, by the time I was old enough to probably seen him, he was doing the Traveling Wilburys, which honestly, when I hear the Traveling Wilburys now, I like it, and there's a comfort I get from hearing it. But when I was like a 17-year-old with a Metallica shirt, listening to Creeping Death, like the Traveling Wilburys were like, I didn't, even though you're talking about, you had legends in that band, right? Roy Orbison, you had the ELO, another amazing singer in there, and I now George Harrison, obviously. I think I want to say like George Harrison might have been my favorite Beatle. I'm not a huge Beatles guy, but he just seems like the coolest dude in the band to me. I mean, Paul McCartney's probably the most talented, but anyways, Thomas Bailey Rat EP was killer. Actually, got it after Out of the Cellar, but it was awesome. Yeah, some of this Rat stuff I didn't get to like after I was in the band, and when you're of modest means, you can't. The kids today don't know what it's like to have to actually go out and buy your music, or maybe if you had a friend willing to like dupe a copy, like they did have the systems where you could have a record and a tape deck and actually start taping your records. I know my dad had that technology. Whenever we would get a Columbia House record in the mail or something, he had a diamond tip needle. I know when I talk about my parents, it sounds like I came from a rich upbringing. He definitely had a good job. And we lived in Carlsbad, which is a super nice area in San Diego. But I'll just quickly say, like, I left home when I was 17, and I've lived a life of poverty like ever since. Like, my dad was so much more successful than I ever was. But anyways, I'll get back to it. So he had the diamond tip needle, and he would take his brand new record, and he would make a really high quality cassette tape on one on each. He'd put a record on one side and a record on the other. I remember the Back in Black I was talking about earlier was on one side, and then on the other side was Bob Seger and the Silver Bullet Band. So if we were on like a family car ride to go see like my grandparents or something, I would know, hey, we have to listen to Bob Seger, which actually was good. I enjoyed it. Bob Seger, all ages love Bob Seger, and his music is legendary. But I'd like sit through the Bob Seger, and then I knew when that clicked over, it was going to be AC/DC Back in Black coming on, which was super sweet. But anyways, yeah, the EP I had got that like way later on. But it's cool. I appreciate that EP. That was Rat like before they even kind of made it. They put out the EP themselves, I believe. I might be mistaken on there, but it was definitely like a small little indie label, and they got a song on the Metal Massacre compilation. I don't know if any of you guys were old enough or to have gotten that, but it was like a compilation that I think had Metallica and other stuff, and it had the early Rat on there. It's your boy Jerome Davis, Tupac for me. Hell yeah, I dig all the old hip hop and '90s rap myself, and as I say, when I go work out, I mean I enjoy putting on that kind of stuff. I like the SP subs. Yeah, no, thanks. To be honest, like we weren't trying to like purposely do the Rat songs. Most of the Rat songs, in my opinion, have held up really well over the years. Like they don't sound not some of them. Some of the filler songs might sound slightly dated or whatever, but most of it holds up pretty well. But where we were going with like albums like Smash was to try to take like an approach. Here, I should pull out my visuals right as I'm doing this to maybe pull in some more some more people. But Smash, we thought we would like kind of reflect the different influences that we all had, which was a little Led Zeppelin, a little Aerosmith, of course Rat. But it kind of was like a departure. It was like, hey, let's do something a little different, not like, hey, let's play round and round backwards and try to make a new song out of it. You know what I mean? We were just having fun, with it, and just keeping Steven, interested in making music. I feel like when I did View to a Thrill, this was like my kind of Empire Strikes Back in a way. It had some darker stuff on it and a little bit of heavier stuff. You Only Live Twice and stuff like that. But then still had a little bit of the old rock, Malibu and One in a Million, Double Shot, Secrets to Tell. There's some interesting stuff on there. It really just didn't get a push, at the time that came out. Stephen and Juan got that initial winning of the name, and Steven was kind of off to the races with that. So I don't even think we played a show to like support the record. Didn't do a video. I was super bummed because I worked super hard on that. This was the first vinyl, this was us actually like doing covers of Rat and having like different guitars. Tracy Guns came in and did some solos. George Lynch. I did all like the rhythm guitars. I had only been in the band like not even a year, I think, when we did that. I was still in, I'd still in my late 20s or something. But I mean, it's all part of the journey. But I feel like this record we're gonna do will probably be the best sounding thing you got from me, and just to hit that point of songwriting. And I'm just stoked to get another chance to do one of these with them. And it just all this, he always talks about it. He's always talking about it. And then next thing you know, okay, next week it starts. And you're like, oh shoot, I'm not prepared. Thomas Bailey, Bo Hill did all the Rat albums up through Detonator. Tried to do Reach for the Sky without him, but Atlantic called him in to get it finished. Yep, he was definitely a sixth member of Rat during those records, in my opinion. But they're brilliant records, guys. Come on, it's hard to top. And those guys were. Robbie Crane describes it as Rat was a sum of all its parts. Like they all had their stank that they put on it that made it Rat. And when you remove any one of those, it's not quite the same. Robin, of course, included in that. He definitely had a distinct sound to his guitar playing, and that was kind of the beginning of the end, I think, when he left. And we're never gonna, without those guys, we're not gonna make an album that sounds like Rat. Exactly. It's gonna sound something different. Think of Arcade. Steven did the Arcade records. Those didn't sound like Rat, but were they? Do you hate them? No, they're just different. And it's like having different friends. You know what I mean? Do you have to pick one over the other? No, be friends with both of them, right? Can't we just be friends? Keep up the good work, says Bree2233. I will, as long as you guys want to see what I'm up to. I'll keep doing it. Steve Lassie, Chinese Democracy took over 10 years, I think. When you just think of the studio time involved and the tapes, and I mean it had to be like over a million, probably a couple $1 million that was getting spent just sitting on that thing, that record. Craziness. Has your girlfriend watched your podcast? Hell no, she doesn't like anything I do, to be honest. Skylar, Eric, who is an artist you wish you saw live when they were still alive? I would have liked to have seen Tom Petty. Um, well, I mean, probably going back, I would, of course, go for the earliest ones first, like Jimi Hendrix or the Doors. Like, how cool would it have been to like see the Doors at the Whiskey? you know, that would be amazing. Um, there's other bands that I've dug but have never seen that are still playing today, but um, I just chose not to see them. The Who was one of those. The Who was a band that I wish I could have seen back in the day. But to see them when they're all like 80 years old, it was like I didn't want to be left with that memory. Like I'd almost prefer to like put on a concert from the 70s of them or whatever and enjoy that on a big screen TV at home or something. Josh Todd makes his guitarist sign a non-disclosure because he's such a psycho. Is that true? Well, hey man, I don't honestly, I don't blame the guy one damn bit for making his band sign that. Um, I don't know, honestly, I don't know much about Josh. His personal life, as it should, stays personal for him. So he doesn't come up, like you don't hear about, and that's probably why, right? Because of those NDAs. But that song "Crazy Bitch" brings out all the crazy bitches. I mean, every crazy bitch, that's their anthem. Okay, so I could see where you'd want like a non-disclosure agreement for all parties involved for just what they're going to probably see and witness, on this thing. So I understand if Thomas Bailey might not get it, but I get it. I would sign it to go play with them. I just pulled up the same one. The Lemon Pillow. Hey, what's your favorite album of 2025? I don't know if I had a favorite um album. I thought there were some cool bands that were kind of new to me. I don't know if you heard of A Meal and the Sniffers. I thought they were kind of cool. Not too much new stuff. There was a couple kind of indie artists that I thought had something they might be able to develop into, but off the top of my head, I'm not feeling like anything really knocked my socks off. What about you, Lemon Pillow? What album is your top one of 2025? John Evans, not a show off guy. You're AF. Um, Let me see. Nah, I mean, I get my chance to like be on stage. I mean, there's plenty of YouTubes of me playing. I kind of have never been like a super competitive person. I never was into sports. Um, and for me, it's like, why try to compete, like making videos of me trying to like noodle when there's like 11 billion of those. I mean, what they can't do is make records, and they're not a lot of not I shouldn't even say that. I don't even know who I'm talking about here. I'm very generalizing in a lot of ways, but a lot of those dudes don't feel comfortable touring or even like playing in front of playing live in front of big crowds. Not everyone can do that. There's some amazingly talented people that get very uncomfortable in those situations, and they prefer to be home in their studio filming what they do and making sure it's perfect and they're happy with it before it goes on. And I don't have the time to really like do that. I'm for me, I know what I do good. That's make records and play concerts. And I enjoy this podcasting as this has been a big pivot in my life. But as we know, for bands, I probably made more tonight with your guys' awesome super chats than I'll make for the whole year from residual Stephen Pearcy income from streaming. Like BMI Broadcast Music is who collects for me for that, and I'm lucky to see $60 in a year from those. I mean, it's sad. I mean, because people stream the stuff, and they just find new ways to not pay people for it. And this is something I could commit to. I love being creative, doing the Fright Bite, and being able to do fun stuff and songs and act and do all that is a great time. I'm enjoying to being connected with all of you and just kind of in real time seeing what you guys are talking about and thinking about and answering your questions and doing what we're doing, just having a hangout, man, having a beer. But yeah, it's been an interesting pivot, but I'm liking it, and I if I stick with it, I think it's just going to get better and better. I got a lot of cool stuff happening this year, so I'm excited on Fridays to come and kind of tell you guys where it's at or what's happening, and just recap the week. If you guys got any big stories you want to talk about from this week, we can too. Spicoli says Tracy does build his own heads. He does. Those are dangerous, by the way. I mean, of course, we know Tris Mahaffey, and he makes the Mahaffey amplifiers. Which, oh, that's another cool thing. I'm going to be at NAM, so I think it's the Hall D, but Mahaffey amplifiers on that Thursday of the NAM show. I think it's around 3 o'clock. So if anybody's actually going to be out, that you could come say hey and come check out the Mahaffey amps. I'm sure I'll jam a little on Tris's amp. But where I was going with the Tris thing, his amps are very simple setup the way he does them, and they're like, I want to say they're like 45 watt heads or something. But he's kind of like doesn't like to work on 100 watt heads. He's like, you could get electrocuted, pretty bad doing that. I wonder if Tracy's ever got zapped. You guys should ask him. He probably has, messing around with that stuff. It's not. You got to be real careful. The Splawn is another awesome amp company. I always like throw them out there. Splawn for all size amps, and then of course Mahaffey amplifiers. I got them too. MahaffeyAmplifiers.com. You can go check out Mahaffey and take a look at his amps, and that's where I'm going to be during the NAM show. Let me see. Fast Easy. Totally remember walking out of the dressing room at Irvine Meadows Cat House Live to watch Sebastian Bach close the night with I Remember You. Bach killed it. Perfect ending to a perfect weekend. You were at that? Yeah, I played that. I was there that day. How hot was it? Fast and Easy. It was like, I think it was one of the hottest days Irvine had had. I feel like it was like 105 degrees. It was just like melting, but it was an awesome day. Sebastian Bach did do a great job. Sebastian Bach's got a ton of shows this year through Big Time Entertainment, and wishing him the best. He's going to have a great touring year, unlike some of us. No, I mean, I'm thankful for whatever, man. If I got time to do other stuff and not be on the road, I'm cool with that too. After 25 years of being on the road, I could take little breaks and not have it bum me out too bad. John Evans, spell check, damn it. F FTRH. Okay. John Wick. Thomas says John Wick kills like 300 people with 2 guns and a pen, and it's over the top with the testosterone for sure. Absurd, really. It was a little much. Some stuff that I probably would have loved when I was, you know, 10 years old or 12 or 13 makes me like a little nervous today and on edge. Like, it's weird. Even the more recent zombie movies just make my blood pressure go up too much. I'm like, I can't do this right now. I need to chillax. I'll put on like the channel that just has like some CGI like fireplace going with a cat sitting there and a little teapot with some smoke coming up. I'm all, there you go. That's more relaxing. The lemon pillow. I've always felt that you do Chris Aiken so much good. Yeah, Chris, I'm just going with he said. He surprised me with that a couple weeks ago when he was, I had started doing my live broadcast, and then he had just, I mean, it was time for him for a change. I don't know if he's talked about that, but he was very supportive of this show, and he was like, "Go do your show. You should do your own show." And And I think I had mentioned I made a comparison to like, you're all grows up, go do your own life now. You know what I mean? It was kind of more that way. And he and I still talk. We're cool and everything. He's texted me tonight. I just didn't look at what it was. He was probably like, "Stop talking about me." No, he didn't say that. But yeah, you'll probably see Chris and I at some point doing something maybe. But yeah, he's doing shows with Seth right now still, and of course the CMS on Saturdays that should be back soon. I just got $1,000 and I don't know what to do with it. Well, you could put you're welcome to put us if you want. You could put us towards the new Mac. No, I got a good. This was through Apple. When I got a Mac Mini some years back, I had got the Apple credit card, which, as some of you probably know, you can do zero interest payments on it. And so I was able to break this down for like, it's like 106 a month and it'll be paid off in a year. So that's pretty cool. That was a pretty safe investment. That's not going to be too hard. As far as like the cost for like running, because Chris did all that, Chris Aiken did our podcast. So now that I'm doing my own show, I'm kind of learning like how it all works and what you need to do it. Um, right now, definitely it's covering what I'm spending on it, like what I get from Google, from my videos and tour vlogs I put up and the fright. But it's covering stuff like StreamYard, because StreamYard's amazing. That's what we're using tonight. And StreamYard's about $45 a month to run it. And then you got to get the little apps to do CapCut and these different things. You got to pay for to like do your thumbnails. Like there's a whole thing, a whole psychological thing with like YouTube creators, which I don't even think Chris realized how important it is, honestly. But like the thumbnail is everything. It is freaking everything. And the title, of course, but they look at that thumbnail first. And I didn't even till recently start to comprehend how important it was. Like, not only do you have to have a thumbnail, but you have to basically have whatever the show is written there on text, because 70% of people are watching it on their TV now. So they're not, if they want to look at what the info is, they have to actually like click down to get to that. What they're seeing on their TV is just a big blow up of your thumbnail. So that's when I realized, uh-oh. And so within the last like month and a half, I've gone back and tried to make better thumbnails. You got to be careful. You can't put like a whole cavalcade of stuff on there or people won't tune into it. It has to be very simple. You have to put like white text, in most cases that they can read from far away without having to spend too much time on it. It's kind of involved, but anyways, you get these little apps that you pay for it. Some of that stuff starts adding up, but I'd say it's probably gonna probably be like $150 a month to run the shows, which is like, if I end up making that with like in a month's time and it's covered, that's great. And if the channel keeps growing, that's even greater. Obviously, I'm going to do Stephen Pearcy road vlogs this year, and those are some big shows coming. Like I said, with Vince and Quiet Riot, these are bigger events we're going to be doing. So you'll be getting a backstage pass to that through me, a guy in the band, and that's been in the band for 25 years, and you will enjoy it. I promise. Let me see. The lemon pillow. The guy seems like he's had a hard life, but your positivity has helped him so much. Yeah, Chris had a terrible accident when he was younger at where a furnace had blown up and he got burned terribly and probably should have died, and it's a miracle that he's still alive. His doctors didn't think he'd make it to this age, so he's definitely a pillar of strength, if you will. And he's put out some great books about his journey and his rehabilitation. The new show with Seth, I'm sure they go into that, and it's it's inspiring for people who've had traumatic things in their life. If you're one of those people, you're probably aligned with these guys even more. Let's see what else we got going on. It's your boy Jerome. Hashtag go shopping and go on the Disney cruise. Nice. Jerome, are you in Florida? Because you're always going to like Disney World and right where you say Disney, but you never say land or world, so I don't know which coast. For some reason, I'm thinking you're in Florida. Um, Let me see. What do we got here? Thomas Bailey, freeze bongs for smooth, cool hits. Yeah. Save your throat from heat, scorching smoke. Yeah, agreed. Agreed. I definitely think a water pipe is safer than just, dude, smoking joints or something's got to be. I mean, when you're in a party situation, that's nice because you can just puff, puff, pass, and that does work. But generally, I don't like roll doobies like at home. That is a little harsh. Stony Jackson, I've switched over to edibles, though sometimes I have a jump start with a few hits until the edibles kick in. Yeah, come on, be honest, Stony. With a name like that, we know you're doing both, sir. Don't you lie. Yeah, edibles are cool. They hit different, right? I mean, they do wonk me out differently. Typically, I like a nice sativa where I can kind of keep working. That opens up like the creative part of me where I can kind of get in and I like to think of shit. I like to get high and just like think of what I'm gonna say later. I like to think about comedy bits and stand up jokes and possible fright bite short mini movies. I mean, all that stuff takes a stone guy to come up with. I mean, I'm sure you guys have figured that out. Um, yeah, Fast Easy. She was an American girl. Tom Petty. At Don951. Hello, at Erik Ferentinos, everybody. Yep, yep. I thought I do call my channel Erik Ferentinos Unleashed, but technically it's just at Erik Ferentinos, and that's already a lot of text. And then once you stick Unleashed on there, I'm like, that looks way too damn long. So I tell people it's Erik Ferentinos Unleashed, but I think as long as they type my name in, they're gonna come across it. Um, Thomas Bailey, Breakdown by Tom Petty is my jam. He took too many fentanyl pills for a cracked hip, died after Heartbreaker's 45th anniversary tour. Yeah. Man, rough life. I mean, he surprised me. I didn't really know he had some of the addictions he even had. But I kind of feel as you're mentioning that and I'm thinking about it, certain drugs just make can make your bones weaker and make you frail, and that ain't good. Make sure you guys are getting your calcium in there, right? As we get older here. John Evans, we drive to Spokane, Washington for our weed. So cool getting to walk in the shop for grass. Too cool for an old hippie redneck. It is nice. It is nice. I mean, it's very civilized. I mean, they typically have a security guy when you walk in or whatever, and they got it set up to where there's like you walk into a little beginning area, right? A little waiting room of sorts. And then once you give your ID or whatever, then they buzz you in and they have these like safety door. You can kind of, once you're in there, it's just like being at any little shop, or tobacco shop or any candy store. More like a candy store, right? Because like I feel like half of the stuff in there is weed candy. I mean, some of it's all right. The problem is, I feel like I can measure how high I'm getting, like off a bong load right away, where sometimes the edibles sneak up on me. Did you guys, any of you, watch the Monsters of Rock road vlog that I did, where I was given a package of? It was like those fruit, not fruit roll ups, but that long tape of sugary candy. It's just like a inch long unraveling of tape. Well, I was like, oh, all right, and I just stuck the whole thing in my mouth, and I guess that was like 6 doses or something in there. That thing, I was so high walking around that ship, I actually wanted to like crawl behind like a trash can somewhere and hide. I just felt like everybody was staring at me and it was the worst. I went back to the cabin and I was having a full blown freak out, which is, I've been smoking weed for like, I don't know, 40 years. So it's like, it's weird that would, an edible would make me feel that way. But I was like literally like clutching my pillow and you look outside and you see just ocean. And I was like, I got really uncomfortable. I don't recommend that. to anybody. Um, it's your boy Jerome. The Beatles are for old people, aren't they? It does. The songs are wonderful. I mean, some of the songs are just timeless. But I'm with you that like it just sounds old. Like the recordings themselves are so old. They're from the '60s. You know what I mean? So it's just it is for old people. It's totally for old people. There's a lot of musicians where that's the pinnacle for them, where they think that the Beatles were the best there ever was, and I'm gonna, I appreciate him. I, it's funny. Speaking of conspiracies, if you guys ever want to get me rolling on the Paul McCartney being the real Paul McCartney or not, uh, that's a whole nother can of worms. There you go. I was looking for what it's called. Beatles or the Stones? The Stones for me, and again that goes back to my parents because they were big Stones fan. They had I remember they had Stones the Hot Rocks album, which was pretty dope. I love the Rolling Stones. I would definitely take the Stones all day long if I had to choose one over the Beatles. Although the Stones got, well, they got a little weird in the 80s, but even those songs, Waiting on a Friend and stuff, still kind of cool in its own way. Uh, it's your boy Jerome. Kids today don't know what it's like to get in trouble for downloading music on the computer to burn to your CDs. Yeah, I had LimeWire that I was starting to grab some stuff. I felt like everything I was kind of taken from there, I had actually bought earlier in my life, so I didn't feel too bad about it. What I do feel bad about was like pretty much 99% of everyone mad at Lars Ulrich for Metallica, the drummer for Metallica, for going up against Napster. I thought he was the biggest uh, elitist, whatever money grubbing guy at the time because I had bought all the Metallica records, the t-shirts and this guy was stopping us poor people from being able to get free music and stuff. And I just thought that at the time I was thinking that was selfish of him. But of course, that was when I was still in my early 20s and hadn't really got into the national act, level of my career where you're actually putting out, records worldwide, and you start to see how much that hurts you financially. To where if I could go back, I'd slap myself. You know what I mean? The kids still get a phenomenal deal with these subscriptions, and I feel like younger people listen to music the most. But for $10 a month to have access to every song that's ever been put out is a pretty amazing deal compared to how I remember it, where you were lucky if you could get a record on sale for $10. A vinyl was more back then was like it would have been equivalent to spending like 25 or $30 today probably to buy a vinyl record, and I couldn't afford that many of them. I mean, the minimum wage back then was like $4 an hour. So, anyways, I think kids got it awesome, but then at the same time, there's so many options for them that it's also hard to find the new cool stuff because it's like you got those same 20 artists that just get pushed on the Taylor Swifts and people like that. Um, Unique. Kids today don't know what it's like to carry these separate devices, a camera for pictures, iPod for music, and flip phone for calling and texting. Unique, do you miss your flip phone? I really liked my Razor phone. I thought that thing was the coolest. You never butt dialed anybody with it. It was super slender in your pocket, but the only downside was it was so thin that I would not even remember it was there. I remember one time I jumped into a swimming pool with that thing and just destroyed it. I still have it in the closet. Um, yeah, my iPod I still have somewhere. I had it engraved for those about to rock on the back. Um, Looks like I need to get the new computer going. Look at this, guys. It's already cracking up on me. This will not happen next week because we have this. I'll let it freeze frame on this when it comes back. But I might have to call it tonight, you guys. I mean, this I was only planning to do about this long anyway. Look, I look all stupid. Anyways, I'm gonna say goodnight to you guys, even though the chats are still coming in and everything. Next week I will go twice as long, I promise. And this will be the last bullshit night of my computer locking up. We've solved the issue. It's this new computer. It's gonna kick ass. And I thank each and every one of you. I'm gonna pound this beer you can't even see. Oh yeah, look where that's frozen out. Now I'm definitely ending the stream. But you guys be cool, be kind to each other. Please come to the Fright Bite. Please come to the Fright Bite on Tuesday and get your bite on. All right. Take care. Oh, come on. Here we go.